it's just magic. It's pure magic. Hey, I'm Amy and welcome back. Today I am debuting a brand new series. I can't promise that'll be very regular like say my 1001 Movies Challenge or the podcast. This is a series that I am very excited to start. This series is going to be called Why I Love ... And at the end of the ... it's going to be something that I want to talk about that I really love. And it can be pretty much anything and everything, but I will mainly focus on movies, TV shows, anything filmmaking related, film history related. Since this is the introductory episode, I wanted to talk about kind of the more broader spectrum of why I love movies, because I started this whole channel based around my love for movies. Let's get into talking about something I hold very near and dear to my heart. I'll probably give a little bit of history on why I got into loving movies so much, kind of how I've taken that throughout the years since I started loving movies, the background, like everything leading up to why I love movies so much, and pretty much why I started this channel to begin with. So let's start at the very beginning, kind of a history of why I love movies so much. When I was younger, one of the presents that my parents and pretty much any relative got me for Christmas were a VHS, like a huge VHS tape, kind of like this one right here, of pretty much every single new Disney movie that came out, or whichever movie was new that year. So it started there. I started my love of movies at a very young age, watching Disney movies constantly, and that is pretty much all I watched for the first maybe 10 years of my life. I watched almost exclusively Disney movies, and not just like the Disney animated movies, like Disney Channel original movies, pretty much anything Disney. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't just Disney movies. I kind of lied a little bit there. I also watched Hook and pretty much every Tim Allen kids movie he ever made. Space Jam was my jam. I mean, I am a kid of the 90s. I lived through the entire 90s, so 90s movies are kind of my favorite. But watching movies was always like something that I did with my family, and it was just really a fun time. On Fridays we would rent a movie, get a pizza, and just gather around the TV and watch a movie. Most of my earliest memories are either watching movies with my family or going to Disney World with my family. So that's kind of what fueled my love for movies and fueled my movie collection in the future. And after Pixar movies came out, I fell in love with the style of animation, and that pushed me to actually wanting to make movies, which I didn't do a whole lot, as a lot of people my age who are really into movies and filmmaking did. I did one music video I made with Barbies to an Ashley Tisdale song when I was 14 or 15. My sisters and I just took my mom's digital camera and actually just made a music video, and that kind of pushed me into video editing, which eventually led to me going to school for filmmaking, which then kind of pushed me into film studies as a minor. And that's kind of where my love of film history really started. I remember growing up watching old movies like Back to the Future and Indiana Jones with my dad, because those are some of his favorite movies, and whenever we occasionally did have cable, we would watch Turner Classic Movies. Some of the times I thought they were really boring. I just could not stand the black and white. Knowing me now, a lot of people would be like, you were obsessed with old silent movies and black and white movies and just old movies in general, so how can you say that they were boring to you? Well, they were. Probably the same reason that they are boring to you, because they just are weird. Sometimes they're not exciting, they don't pull you in like a lot of action movies do, they're not bright colors, and it's just, that's why a lot of people find them boring. And that's what I thought as a kid. But when I started taking film studies classes, I really learned how to dig deep into a movie, just take it and just juice everything out of it, if that's the right metaphor, and really learn to appreciate everything that the filmmaker was doing and trying to say. And while learning about all of this different stuff, simultaneously taking film studies classes with video production classes really just gave me a very immersive experience in the whole world of filmmaking, and learning how to appreciate all of that stuff. It just really opened my eyes to what all the filmmakers go through, and kind of why I give a lot of movies really high scores, because I understand how hard it is to make a film. Even if you're the greatest director ever, like Martin Scorsese or Steven Spielberg, you still have some really crappy movies, or it's really hard for you to make a movie because you could be on set and have everything planned out, but something could go wrong. So you have to make do, and that's kind of the magic of filmmaking. You can have everything planned out and something goes wrong and you have to improvise, but the improvisation could make the scene or the line of dialogue or something even more special and beautiful than you had meant it to be in the first place. That's something that happened to me a lot while working on a lot of the short films, and even the feature I worked on a while ago. You just really have to learn how to just go with the flow a little bit, and that's coming from me, someone who likes to have everything very planned out and very scheduled, and that's my job on film sets usually, is to be the production manager or the script supervisor and make sure everything is going according to plan. And it's usually my job to help the director and cinematographer improvise on everything. So that's the fun part of it all. Kind of going back to the beginning when I was talking about my love of film and when the Pixar movies came out, there's a magic to films. Film and animation is just so magical. That's kind of what intrigued me. I've always been really into fantasy and Disney princesses. Harry Potter has been part of my life since the books came out in 1997? I don't remember for sure. So they've been a part of my life for 20 years pretty much. So I'm really into magic and like the fantasy of it all. And to me, movie making is basically magic. It still blows my mind how old film cameras work. Like, I understand how they work and I understand how a digital camera works, but it still blows my mind every time. Just the process of the celluloid capturing an image through the light and all of that stuff, the science behind it is just mind-blowing and magical. Even more magical than bringing this thing that the camera is capturing to life onto a big screen, bringing it all, editing it all together, adding special effects, colorizing it. It's just the symbiosis between the filmmaker and the camera and the crew and the actors and the story, just making it all come together cohesively. Unlike my thoughts currently, they're kind of just all over the place. Bringing it all together to make this beautiful, harmonious picture, even if it turns out really horrible, is still just a work of art and magic. And it's hard for a lot of people to achieve that. They have to learn how the cameras work, learn what they should point it at and what angle they should point it at, how long they should hold that shot there, when they need to cut, when they need to pan, when they need to make it a different color, like all of these different things. And that's just the director and the cinematographer and the editor even. The lighting, like the gaffers, the best boys, all of the different crew members have such amazing jobs that put all of this thing into one thing. But then there's also the actors, and a lot of people say actors have really easy jobs. They just have to sit there, learn lines, and go stand in front of the camera. But it's not just that, and that's another portion of why this is so awesome and so cool. They have to learn to be comfortable in front of the camera. They have to get into the mind of their character. They really have to study the character, train for certain things. Like, they have to train to ride a horse, they have to train to fight, they have to train to speak another language. If they're speaking in an accent, they have to learn the accent or the dialect. So they put probably more work into this than maybe even like the director does, because they really have to embody the character and make them believable on screen. You have to learn how to portray the character and embody the character the way you feel is fit, plus the way the director sees it and the screenwriter sees it. So you have to combine all of that. The actor has to take all of this different direction and kind of pull it and push it into what they feel is the correct way to show emotion and to bring the audience to feel that emotion. But finally, the thing I think is the reason I love film the most is because it connects people. It's a way to tell a story, and a lot of the stories, some of the screenwriters take cues from their real life, friends' real life, so it's bringing a real life story to screen, to an audience, and a lot of people can relate with that, or a lot of people who don't relate with it can learn and understand why other people feel this way. And sometimes they take books and adapt them into movies, or they spin off of different things. So it sometimes doesn't really appeal to people to have spin-offs, but at the same time, that still unites people. People who don't want the spin-offs, they're united together against the spin-off, but people who are fans of the series or the spin-off or the original and they enjoy it, they're united together too. It unites people in fandoms or just like groups of people who like the same things. So I think I rambled on a little bit too much, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you guys are looking forward to seeing this new series. Let me know in the comments why you love movies and suggest some other things that you think I might love to talk about. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate every single one of you. Let me know who you are in the comments down below and let's be friends. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe if you're new because I love talking about movies, TV, filmmaking, film history, all of that kind of stuff, and I really hope to see you guys next time. Bye!